The 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser is here in all of its boxy glory, but is it a top contender in the off-road SUV fight? Looking closely at the new Land Cruiser reveals that the SUV lacks in a few key areas that might concern trail enthusiasts. Let's dig into what we think will work, and what needs to be upgraded, on the new 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser, and how its features stack up against other players with independent front suspension, a solid rear axle, and an off-road-oriented trim level. This is the first hybrid-only Land Cruiser, meaning that seeking a V8 under the hood of their new off-roader will be left looking toward the older 200 series Land Cruiser, or SUVs outside the scope of this comparison like the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392, the Land Rover Defender, and others. Want a gas-only Land Cruiser? While the 2024 Toyota Tacoma does still offer a non-electrified option, the new Land Cruiser does not. For that, also look to the 2024 Lexus GX. Should off-roaders be concerned about the Land Cruiser's hybrid power plant? Probably not. Considering Toyota has been making hybrid engines for more than 2 decades, we will bet that the turbocharged 2.4-liter 4-cylinder engine and its 48-horsepower electric motor will exemplify the quality and reliability the brand is known for. Hybrid engines have also demonstrated their mettle in other off-road platforms like the Range Rover and the Jeep Wrangler 4Z. The new Land Cruiser is not winning any battles when it comes to its ground clearance, approach and departure angles. The current 4Runner TRD Pro sits at just over 9 inches above the trails, while the Land Cruiser can just barely clear a standard sheet of office paper with 8.3 inches at its lowest point. Official ground clearance numbers for the 2024 Lexus GX have not been released as of this article, though we expect them to be similar to the Land Cruiser. Approach and departure angles matter when the vehicle is fixing to drive up or down a ledge without dragging the bumpers. The Land Cruiser's 31 and 22-degree approach and departure angles don't stack up to the current 4Runner. The 200 series Land Cruiser beats the 2024 LC in approach angle while falling 1 inch short in the departure department. The 2024 Lexus GX can descend a slightly steeper ledge, but its hefty front fascia will hold back its approach angle. The verdict on the off-road geometries? Amending these figures requires lift kits, larger tires, and aftermarket bumpers. Until then, tread lightly with the Land Cruiser around the rougher trails. That's correct, all trim levels of Land Cruiser will have the locking rear differential as standard. On the GX, a rear locker available on the Overtrail grade. It is found in the off-road packages on the current 4Runner, and did not appear on the 200 series Land Cruiser, which had a center locking differential instead. If you want a locking differential in the front and the rear of your Land Cruiser, look toward the aftermarket, or to more trail-focused SUVs like the Ford Bronco. Protecting the vehicle from trail damage is important, and Toyota has attempted to address this area in the new Land Cruiser. Skid plates are found under the radiator, engine, and gas tank, and there's a tiny appetizer plate of armor beneath the transfer case. Opting for the first edition Land Cruiser affords you rock rails for the sides of the SUV. Similar protection can be found under the current 4Runner TRD Pro and the 2024 Lexus GX, however, the Jeep Wrangler and Ford Bronco continue to offer more protection from the factory. If you want to take the Land Cruiser into rougher stuff, you may want to invest in upgraded underbody protection. Even in its most trail-oriented trim, the 2024 Land Cruiser comes with 265/70 SR18, that's 32.6 inches, all-season road tires. That's a fraction of an inch smaller than the 265/70 SR17s on the latest 4Runner, and an even smaller deviation from the 285/60 SR18s on the 200 series Land Cruiser. The 2024 Lexus GX wins here with the same 265/70 SR18 tire size, but in an all-terrain variety better suited for off-road travel. Other manufacturers appear to embrace beefy tires from the factory, like the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon with 35-inch tires and the Ford Bronco Raptor with its 37-inch tires, both all-terrains. Land Cruiser fans looking for more meat underfoot will need to find aftermarket support. Multi-terrain select? Crawl control? Downhill assist? We've found it is hard to replace good old common sense while driving on the trails. However, these electronic features found on the 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser can make certain elements of off-roading easier. You'll find the same suite of tech goodies on the 2024 Lexus GX Overtrail and Overtrail Plus, and some configurations of 4Runner. Ford outfitted the Bronco with similar features, and while the 200 series Land Cruiser won't drive itself down a hill, it does offer multi-terrain select and crawl control. Disconnecting the sway bar, or anti-roll bar, in the front can milk a touch more travel out of the front suspension, meaning your tires remain in contact with the trail. The 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser gives the driver the option to push a button to disconnect the front sway bar, while in the 2024 Lexus GX, the electronic kinetic dynamic suspension system does all the decision-making. The 200 series Land Cruiser and the 4Runner both employed a non-electronic version of KDSS, while the Ford Bronco features an onboard switch to disconnect the front sway bar. If your definition of off-roading is bringing family and friends along for the easy trails and backroads, then the 2024 Land Cruiser should do that in style. For anything more than the most eroded forest road, we recommend more aggressive off-road tires and additional armor. Though we can't speak, yet, to the effectiveness of the suspension, fitting larger tires will likely require modifications to the struts and springs, and open the door to longer travel components with more damping capability. We applaud the standard rear locking differential, the pair of front recovery points, and the front fascia that appears to make fitting aftermarket armor a slightly less painful experience. Plus, there seems to be plenty of space within that front end to stash a winch. Can the 2024 Land Cruiser be made into the trail-conquering machine of our dreams? Time will tell.